of course, don't talk about terminal illness, right? Those kind of things. If you're going to meet your maker, you'll meet your maker. But from a business perspective, most problems can be solved. And for the rest of you here who are not business owners, or for the rest of you here who are even business owners, I'm going to tell you that, this is a two-sided marketplace. All of you here, you're either a business owner, and therefore you have to deal with your own challenges. Or if you're not a business owner, then the next best skill to acquire is that of CRO. In fact, what I'm preaching right now, right, Pastor Fabian, is that all of us should just acquire one skill if you want to future-proof yourself. Every single one of us, whether you're a business owner or you're not. So what is that skill? That skill has this acronym called CRO. So this is, some people call this the new normal. I would call this the new beginning, because where we're going to be moving forward is not so normal anymore. And I'm not sure even we understand what the meaning of new normal means. But a new beginning suggests a complete reset. And, if you're a business owner, you have to deal with the changing environment. And, if there's anything that's come out positive in COVID-19, and I don't say this to in a gloating manner, right? Is the forced behavioral change all over the world that has forced consumers, businesses, educators, governments alike to embrace online meetings, online congregation. I mean, think about it right now, right? There are 110 of us in this little Zoom room itself. And some of you in Malaysia, some of us are in Singapore. I mean, previously, before Zoom, I had to travel physically to Malaysia, right? Take an airplane, spend a few nights. I mean, just if I go there for a night meeting, I would usually have meetings the following night just to make my trip worth the while. And you lose half a day traveling to begin with. All those things have now, is now a thing of the past. And I think as well, we all need to know that the biggest companies in the world, the Apple, the Google, and so on and so forth, have already mandated, right, that their staff can all work from home for the rest of 2020, which means the rest of the year. And it takes just 22 days to form a habit. So what do you think happens on December 31st with these companies? I think that they're going to get so comfortable and get so productive from working at home that they will continue to do that for the foreseeable future. And, it has a very profound impact. I'm not sure, my fear for all of you here, and I'm not saying this because I don't care about the rest of the world, but, I can't help people who are not in front of me. You are in front of me. I can tell you this. My fear for all of you is that you are adopting a wait and see attitude, which means, you every day pray to your God, tolong, please let us end this COVID, and life will go back to normal. I think you are being delusional if you are thinking that way, regardless of whether you're a business owner, you're an employee, especially if you're an employee. I really worry for you because you are thinking, I can't wait to go back to work. Okay. Now, depending on who you're working for, by the way, I'm a business owner. That means I'm an employer. Okay. And of course, I haven't come to a point where I'm thinking, when do I retrench my staff? Because, I went through a rough patch in 2019, and I've kind of sorted out a lot of these problems as a business owner. I'm not sure other business owners have done those things. Okay. A lot of the things I'm doing right now, by the way, the only reason why I can smile at you today is because I did tremendous cost cutting in November 2019. My offices don't exist anymore. I was paying $12,000 in Singapore in Carthage for rental, $12,000. And of course, before COVID, I had to pay the landlord $12,000 a month for the first 3 months. That's $36,000 without having to utilize I never once stepped into my office. I paid $36,000 to a landlord who couldn't give a shit about lowering the rental because they know we were exiting the venue. My saving grace was that my lease expired on 31st March 2020. So we Hokkien say, si wei heng, right? Si wei heng, okay? I have a new office, by the way. I had to spend $50,000 renovating. I didn't want to do it. I had no choice. It's 2-3 months. I haven't stepped into my new office, but thank goodness I'm paying a much lower rent. Okay, so I kind of avoided a lot of bullets. I'm not sure that the rest of the business owners are that fortunate, especially if they weren't planning for a pure online model, which I've been planning for years anyway. COVID-19 gave me the excuse to accelerate my online plans. Okay, so all these fanciful things that you're seeing on my webinar is there for a reason itself. Now, so let's get to the hot seat, right? The hot seat for diversity, we are going to start off with, well, I think both of them are B2B, if I'm not wrong. Okay, one is in the gift business, which makes it fairly equally, I wouldn't say it's B2C, but you can apply a lot of strategies for that as a gift business owner. And the other one is a very technical business. Xiang Bun is in this circuit breaker or PCB kind of stuff, or that's electronic engineering kind of stuff. So I kind of just chosen these two different businesses because they are very diverse. And let's see how we go about working with them to critique their businesses and help them. So, Renee, are you ready for this?
Sure. Let's start with Shini. Shini, I hope you're ready this time. Right, so Shini, perhaps you could introduce yourself and also your business, what you are currently doing, and share with us some of the challenges that you're facing as a business owner. Shini, let's welcome Shini.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shini from Print and Gift. We do, before COVID-19, we do printing and corporate gifts. Yeah, like most businesses, I think with COVID-19, a lot of businesses are being has to change. Yeah, like us, in the past, we have been doing a lot of corporate gifts for company whenever they have events, when they have exhibitions, when they have road shows, and all the three things that I just mentioned are gone.
Got it.
They are no longer existing. Yeah, there's no more exhibition, there's no more road shows, and there's no more there's only virtual meeting, no physical meetings. So where has our business gone? Yeah, so overnight, we actually changed our business from a very B2B. Well, I would say that we are still in B2B, but we focus in two aspects of our business. Since beginning of April. The first business that we have gone into is called CarePack, which you can visit my website when you are free and support us if you can. It's called carepack.sg. I just step it into the chat. Basically, what this does is that a lot of businesses know that their employees are actually working from home. And what they want to do is that they want to let their employees or their clients be reminded that that they still care for them. They still want them to feel that, hey, you belong, you are part of us, you are important to us, you are still our most important asset. So that is where we actually, in a way, change a bit of the products, packed in with different items such as like hand sanitizers, with masks, together with like water bottles and lunch boxes and things like that. So we pack them into a box and give it as a gift. And instead of last time we deliver to one place, which is the offices, now we deliver to the doorstep of their employees or their clients. So that is one area that we have been working with. And the other area is what we do, is what we call HR and Gift, which is very much targeted at companies who has at least 300 employees, where we actually partners with like our long-term partners, basically the branded ones, such as Swarovski, JBL, and people like that, where we actually offered substantial discounts for the employees when they were to buy in our site for themselves. So this is actually how we actually evolve around. And of course, with COVID-19, we basically fast forward this whole process. In the past, we were still very comfortable doing B2B, just solely B2B, although we have like our peak and off peaks, but we are still comfortable, you know, having a good revenue of like of good business to keep us going. Yep, that's about it.
Okay, so kind of understand where you come from. So you seem to have covered the product side pretty okay. I'm going to reference all of you to some of my slides as a learning point as well. Let me see whether I can get this working. Yes. So those of you who attended this webinar session, the Digital Entrepreneur Fundamentals, I covered a few very, very important business fundamentals, which I'm going to apply as a framework to all businesses regardless. So for the business owners, I want you guys to think about this in terms of the fundamental equation that will allow you to survive regardless of COVID or not, is to look at the business from this equation standpoint. Now, those of you who want to see it bigger, you can double click on my screen and get to the larger speaker view, so to speak. Can't be shifting there, sorry. Let me just get back to where I am. So, regardless of what business you're in, isn't it? You have to look at it from a acquisition perspective. And of course, what Shini was saying previously, that she was doing a lot of trade shows and a lot of offline activities. And, you know, the idea of the corporate business, especially one like Gift, is that if you do a good job on customer experience, and particularly customer experience, your formula on the right side, which is the lifetime value, is where you really make your money by delighting your customers, by customizing to their needs. And from a long-term perspective, they will just stick with you because they'll have different needs every single year, and they value your input, your ideas, and all these aspects that has to relate to the customer experience that you want to provide your businesses. So this is more from a financial standpoint and accounting formula, okay? But the real critique in terms of how do we ensure that we are able to build LTV while reducing customer costs, then we'll have to refer to the next slide, which is what I call the ACR formula. And this is where we start the critique over here. Because regardless of what business you're in, whether you're B2B or you're B2C, each of us as business owners really have to look at three aspects to break down our activities into three aspects and ask ourselves, are we short in any of these areas here? So it's one thing to have a good product, and a lot of business owners are well regarded from their product innovation standpoint. In fact, most businesses start at the product idea and formulation until the product is created. So this is where most business owners' strength come in. I mean, like for me, Renee mentioned I have flight school as well. So that's a product of mine where, again, taking my background as a pilot, knowing how difficult it is for a typical Singaporean to learn how to fly in a country with no airspace, and my own experience of having to acquire my private pilot license by practicing on computer simulators, and even my jet license, which is the highest rating you can get, equivalent to an airline transport pilot license, was all accomplished in a flight simulator. And that was where I got my idea to start flight school by training pilots with zero time who want to get a license into a simulator. So, but that's the product side of the business. You see, I have to deal with the A in this formula, the attraction. How do I bring the word out that I have such a product? And this is something that every business owner will need to deal with. How do you amplify? What strategies are you going to use to amplify the fact that you have a good product? And truth be told, right, prior to COVID, we had obviously a lot more options, in the sense that we could go to trade shows, especially so convenient, and get trade shows all over, right? In America, in Europe, in China, in Asia as well. So trade show, I would argue, from a B2B perspective, is a great place, depending on the nature of your product yourself. But you take away everything to do with mice, right? MICE. Then what are you left with? And that is the challenge that businesses who have traditionally been dependent on the offline methods now face the challenge trying to make it relevant for the online world. And this is something that business owners will need to adapt or die. Okay, there's no two way about it. So as business owners, you have to figure out, where am I in this new landscape? The first question is this: do I have the opportunity to tap the online channel? And if you say no, then you're going to die a slow death, I think, a very painful death. And there could be certain kind of businesses where may have no way out. I mean, I give you an example, right? So if we look at tour companies, particularly, I mean, you can say, let's do a virtual tour. How do you do a virtual tour? Entertainment spots, cinemas, for example, right? Where we go to the venue for the experience and we pay $50, $100 just to enjoy the surround system, the screen, and all these things. How do you digitalize such a business? So I want you to all understand, number one, I see a lot of these Facebook ads showing up on my newsfeed. I'm sure on your newsfeed as well. All these young boys, I don't know why they're all so young. Okay, I have nothing against young people, by the way. But I feel that they're so naive into thinking that they have a solution for everybody. Friends, there's no such thing as a solution for everybody. The moment you start thinking that way, you show your naiveness, depending on who you're talking to, of course. Because the truth is this, my friends: there's no such thing as saving everybody in COVID-19. The best presidents in the world cannot save their own citizens. If you have the wrong health combination and complications, and you attracted COVID-19 and you're of age, you're probably going to die. I mean, condolences out there, and there's nothing that you and I can do. It's natural order itself. The same for businesses, my friends. Okay. And that's the thing, right? So as a business owner or as a digital entrepreneur, it's important that you are spending this time moving forward, whether you have a business plan, whether you have an actual business and so on and so forth, to figure out very objectively what is your turnaround plan. Do you have a turnaround plan? And how are you going to execute your turnaround plan? Whether, again, right? I mean, if you're a digital entrepreneur, you're an employee, a few 20 over percent said, I'm an employee. Okay. What if you lose your job tomorrow? I mean, you guys need to start building worst case scenarios and crawling out of your worst case scenario. And if things go better, I mean, if there's a vaccine tomorrow, hallelujah, fantastic, no problem. Okay. But my fear for many of you here is that you are treading on a very thin, tight wire with no safety net and nothing but hoping for the best. And I think you are being unnecessarily suicidal, if you ask me. Okay, but anyway, let's get on to the critique itself. So the way I like to do the critique is that I already have a framework, right? So we have attract, we have convert, and we have retain. And we're going to stick to these 3 steps. So whether, again, right, for all of you here, whether you want to evaluate the business, you want to help a business owner, I mean, even if you think you have the knowledge and you want to help a business owner, don't help a dead business. The business must have chance of survivability itself. Because if you're naive and you just help the first guy that comes to you, both of you are going to die together. And that's not what you want to do. Now, the idea of having fundamental business skills is that you know who to save and who has no chance of survival. You know, in fact, that's a skill set that doctors also have in times of war, for example, right? Who do they save? They save the people with the highest probability of survival. That's how it's going to work. If the doctor looks at a person and sees that he has 10% chance of survival, he's not going to operate on him because his time is better used on a casualty who has a 75% chance of survival. And we are in this scenario where a minute spent on any initiative that wouldn't bear you fruit is a minute wasted. Okay, so the biggest paradigm shift I want all of you to understand is that we have moved from effort to outcome. We have transited from a world of effort where we pay by effort, right, to a world of outcome. And many of us have been left behind in the effort world, meaning that you justify your pay because, look here, I did these things. Please pay me a fee. Well, maybe 2 months ago, but today everybody is broke. It doesn't mean there are no opportunities. It means that we reward you on outcome. Nothing upfront, everything based on outcome. Now, business owners, I need you to understand this as well, right? Because, you know, traditionally, business owners have been holding on to the burden, your entire OPEX, your entire HR cost and everything. Let me understand you, right? You never thought of having virtual salespeople, have you? We call affiliates, and rewarding them on outcome. You have the product, but there are other people who have marketing skills but don't have the product. And that's where the retention strategies come in, right? Because we say, okay, I don't even need an army of experienced affiliates. Let's start with my customers. If my customers are happy with what I'm offering, why aren't I going to my customers and asking for a referral? And might as well incentivize my customer to say, look here, you know, refer me some business and I can make you a deal, you know, where I make it as an affiliate and you can either get a discount off future purchases from me, whatever you help me generate in revenues, I will give you a credit. So it doesn't have to be cash as well. It can just be credit. that you can use when you use my services, whatever you have earned, right? I will subtract the credit as a reward to you. So it's important, again, that we look at it from a framework perspective. If not, we get lost. You know, I'm trying to say, my friends, we got too many problems to try to figure out, and you guys will just go in all directions. So you need to be very structured. What is your problem? Now, in Shini's case, she says she has the product already, and she used to use offline channels, but the offline channels right now obviously cannot be utilized. So how? Then I say, let's look at the online channels first. So we look at the online hygiene factors, which is something I'm going to do right now, which is to look at her website. So I'm going to shift to her website right now. So voila, here's a website. And of course, Renee, you can chime in at any time you want. Okay. So now, so in this world where things are going to get tough and tough and tougher and toughest, we need to go back to the basics as a business owner and leverage what is leverageable. And without being fancy, the first hygiene factor is, can I extract maximum search engine visibility in my website? In other words, is my website optimized for my target audience? And of course, we go back to our good friend, search engine optimization. And how effective has our website been in attracting our right target audience? So I'm just going to go to her corporate gifts section here and just look at, let's say, bag and pouches. Let's click what's clickable. Okay, so let me just confirm some things and then I'll tell you my perspective. All right, so I can see that this web page, and I'm not sure from Shini's side how much she knows about SEO, but from looking at the very basic content over here, very, very light content, we call it thin content over here, and the way the title tag is being constructed, it's pretty clear that little to no SEO has been done. There's no H1 and so and so forth, right? So in other words, this is fairly typical of corporate websites where they are organized by functional categories like bags and pouches, travel essentials, and so on and so forth, and not based on what people are searching. So in the first place, this is a corporate website, from what I understand, isn't it? And these are corporate gifts. So first thing is, from an SEO perspective, and we do have to go back into basic SEO itself, which is how are people searching if they were looking for bags and pouches as a corporate gift? And that's the first part, which is what people are searching. And the other part is, how do I tell Google that my page is about corporate gifts with regards to bags or pouches? Okay, so the point is that most websites, and this is no different, is organized from a very functional and practical manner. Okay, so you have all your categorization based on your understanding of how to categorize them. But when you do it without regard to how people search, your website can have a lot of content, as you can see here, a lot of images and a lot of information, but is effectively blind to the search engines. In other words, you're going to get little to no search engine traffic. So if you ask me, what is the first thing you need to fix as a business? And I said, I did do a previous SEO webinar and also say that, SEO works for majority of use cases. It's less effective. I did mention for F&B, but you're not F&B, right? You are a corporate gift shop or gift company. And therefore, there are obviously thousands of searches of companies who look for corporate gifts. And the question is, how are you positioned from a search visibility perspective? Now, to give you a better understanding, I can give you a reference. So let me go to Google. So the first tip I can give you guys is to spend time just understanding your industry, right? And you don't have to be a genius in this area. Like, without any keyword research, I can just assume that you're in the corporate gift business, or you used to be at least. So the first thing you want to do is keyword and target market. So in this case, corporate gift, Singapore, that's my target market. Hit enter and spend some time understanding who your search competition is. So you get to see that you do have a bunch of advertisers. And again, this is Google paid ads, otherwise known as paid search. The product name is Google AdWords, AdWords. And you also need to know that Google allows for a maximum of 4 ad listings. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So all 4 slots are taken up by who? Your competition, obviously. Why? Because they are like you, struggling for business. They need visibility. And obviously, they are using Google Ads to be visible in the search engines when someone searches corporate gifts, which is a fairly generic term that people will use when you're searching for a corporate gift company itself. So how well are you represented here? Why do you not have a paid ad running? Now, the ads are probably rightfully costly. But let's look at the next block over here. How is this block created? Well, this block is made up of listings which are part of the Google My Business initiative. So Google My Business is a free listing that any business owner, and especially if you have a physical location, physical place of business, you need and you should sign up for Google My Business, verify your address, because that gives you a chance of showing up in this area, because these are all purely Google My Business listings. And of course, to show up here, you have to sign up for Google My Business, you have to verify your address. And of course, the good news is that if you appear here, you don't pay Google a single cent, unlike the ads, because this is a free listing, so to speak. So that's another way to get visibility. Now, obviously, the last and the most important way is SEO. And from an SEO perspective, all these websites are getting free traffic because they are the first 10 listings that show up in the search engines when someone types in corporate gifts. And again, I'm just going to tell you, short of ask you to attend my 5 days advanced SEO class. I'm just saying, in these hard times, in these desperate times, spend time observing how competitors structure their website. So this is basically the quick and dirty approach. So in other words, there's a reason why Google put them on page 1. I can reverse engineer and tell you why. We don't have time for that. From a practical perspective, right-click, open new tab, rinse and repeat for the 3 top websites, and start by studying what they have done correctly to deserve a top 3 position in the search engines. Okay, but this is, again, assuming you know nothing about SEO, but I want you to at least model your better competitors, because if they are there, they're there for a reason. Now, you want to find competitors worthy to model based on what they're doing in similar business model to yours. So for example, if over here, the first one, and they're dealing with corporate gifts, notice what they're doing over here. They're showing you, or they're claiming at least, this is called social proof, right? How many gifts sold to date? Social proof. What is this in the last 30 days? Visitors. How many corporate customers they have? How can you verify? I do not know, but that's what they claim anyway, right? They put all their top customers here, all look very large. Again, is it impossible? It's not impossible when you are page number one in Google for corporate gifts, because all these companies, obviously government and non-government, also have a need for corporate gifts because they have clients. And how do they look for corporate gifts? I guess they Google as well, right? So there is a lot of value in leveraging the search engines for visibility. And to be honest, this kind of visibility can outpull the best trade show out there. That's the value of a page 1, number 1 listing. The next thing you want to also reverse engineer, and this is something quite sneaky, by the way, but nothing illegal. You can just take their URL over here, Control C, go back to Google. Let's open a new one. And you can legally spy on the competitors by using site colon and pasting the URL and taking away the HTTPS and all the other jargons. So in this case, you just leave it with www.giftmarket.com.sg. So site colon without a space, www.giftmarket.com.sg, hit enter. What this gives you is that it returns to you every single index page on this website. And in this case, Google's telling us they have 3,190 pages, and all the data is visibly available here. Okay. So you know that they have frisbee printing. They're targeting frisbee printing as a keyword. And of course, you can open new tab, visit their web page. And let me just critique this web page anyway very quickly, because if they're on page 1, they obviously would have hired SEO guys. And how they're structuring their web page as well, you can take certain cues. So they're doing very, very basic SEO. I mean, they only have like 3 line items over here. So from a, sophistication perspective, I would tell you that they're not even sophisticated in search engine optimization. They're just better than you. Okay, this is one of those cases where it's not as if they are so powerful. They're just better than the rest, and that's why Google is putting them on page 1 itself. So you want to reverse engineer companies in the top 3, in the top 5. Look at their website, look at their navigation, and at least begin to appreciate why they are there and why you don't seem to be there in that sense. What are they doing differently from you? So I'm just going to come here and let's look at what else? Face mask. So it's interesting, to also find out that your competitors are not staying static. I mean, do you think they were selling face masks as corporate gifts 5 months ago? Probably not, right? So you can see that they are also adapting really quickly. And it just tells you how forward these guys are, especially those who are in the top 3, because they are beneficiaries of free search engine traffic. And therefore, it shouldn't be a surprise to you that they're taking their first mover advantage or front mover advantage and pulling away from everybody else, right? So you will see, I mean, from an SEO perspective, they have a headline, which we call the H1 in SEO. But you also see in most cases, especially for the top ranked websites, they have basic content. You will not search engines with no content. That's going to be highly unusual. It has to be a very bad niche for that to happen. So not surprisingly, for them to get to page 1, they obviously have practitioners either in-house or they paid someone. But whatever the case is, I'm just showing you an example on what you should be doing that you are not doing that they are doing, because and this has nothing to do with COVID-19, by the way. We should have been talking about this 2 years ago, right? That, what do I need to do to fortify my business to leverage as much traffic online as far as possible? And the answer come up will be, first thing you ever do as a business owner, and not just wait for COVID-19, is to make sure that when you build your website, you also do very, very thorough search engine optimization, because that's going to be important for you down the line. And search engine traffic, the good news is, costs you nothing in that sense. Okay. So, I mean, if you ask me what's doable, I would say if I were you, I would invest my time to overhaul my entire website to leverage search engine traffic, because we're in, as already told all of you here, right? The worst thing you can do today is to plan for tomorrow. And then when tomorrow comes, you're going to plan for tomorrow again. You're going to keep doing things and redoing things, and it's going to be no end. You're never going to have a lifestyle business that you're going to be proud of. Find out what you need to do to not just survive, find out what you need to do to thrive, my friends. Okay. Many of you have been looking at too narrow viewpoints, if you ask me, and it comes and bite you back because you're solving the symptoms, you're not solving your problem. So first thing I would do in all these hot seats that I'm, unless it's not totally not relevant, I'll tell you, is the lowest cost redemption is to go and rework your entire website with SEO in mind. The funny thing is this, the funny thing is that, I have so many students over here that have learned SEO, but don't have a project to work on. Well, this may be a best time to work with business owners like Shini and the rest. And, if I was totally broke and I knew SEO, what I would do is I'll approach a business owner like Shini, okay, and say, look here, of course, she has to have a strong product first. She has to have a nice product range, good pricing, and all these factors first. And say, why don't I build a website? I buy a domain, I build a website on my own, and you help me fulfill, drop ship, so to speak. I mean, those of you who are digital entrepreneurs, if you have SEO skill set, I would do that, right? Because I already told you, you have business owners like Shini who have the products ready. And God knows, do they even have inventory, And your strength is the marketing side. I mean, there are two parts to the equation. What we saw earlier, the attraction and the conversion are all digital entrepreneurship skill sets. It's only the fulfillment that we need a real business owner who has an inventory to go and do all the fulfillment, because we don't know do all those things anyway. And it's a perfect match made in heaven in that sense, right? So as a business owner, if you have this kind of business, the first thing you should do is, go on Facebook and start posting, looking for online partners to collaborate where you can help me market my products and we can look at a revenue share perspective. So people on the other side who have the skill set and who are interested can just contact you and go into collaboration in this case.
Right. So Shini also has a challenge, right, in engaging with customers. And she mentioned here they take quite some time to make decisions. Shini, if you don't mind, if you could share with us, I believe these are B2B customers, and what are your channels, your sales channels currently? Yeah, Shini, if you are still on the line.
Are you still muted? Oh, you're muted. Okay, ask to unmute. No idea why this thing is happening. Okay, yeah.
Hi. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Currently, it's still via EDMs to our existing clients, and of course, in fact, we built a separate website for care packs. Yeah. So currently we are through for the care packs, we actually do our SEOs. Yeah. And people who are like what just now Fabian had mentioned, there were a few people who approached me, and they are helping me to do some selling as well. Yes.
So your customers are B2B or B2C currently that you're trying to push the solution, the new service offerings?
B2B.
More B2B, right?
In whole B2B.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of the marketing activities that you're doing to target B2B customers at the moment?
Basically, it's still pretty much via EDMs.
EDM means current leads, not new leads, right?
Current leads, as well as new leads are mainly from SEOs.
From SEO?
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, we also did some Facebook marketing.
Okay, you're doing B2B sales. Do you have LinkedIn presence?
Yes, I do. Personal one.
A personal one, I see. Not the business, right? Do you do engagement or lead generation via LinkedIn?
No.
Okay. Are there specific job titles of people that you target usually?
Currently for care packs are mainly HR people.
Okay, so one suggestion is that for lead generation purpose, of course, the SEO and stuff is great, especially so for B2C businesses. But when you're into B2B, you have your current leads, that's great. Hopefully they refer you some business. But if you want to continuously generate leads in a cost-effective manner, you might want to explore also expanding your presence on LinkedIn as well, your personal as well as the business. And LinkedIn is actually a great place for you to do lead generation activities. And you want HR leaders, you can easily find them. You can easily find them on LinkedIn, drop them a message. If you could invest in, maybe some tools, they've got LinkedIn Sales Navigator tools, for example, you can go in and search for the decision makers, drop them a message and link up with them. So these are some of the things that we also do for our clients, especially for B2B businesses. So your approach right now, I mean, it could be a mix of B2B, B2C, right? You still want to be searchable online, but at the same time, you specifically want to look for HR leaders. And I find like the fastest way for you to do so is on LinkedIn already. If it's on Facebook, then of course, I mean, Facebook is the users, it's quite it's mass market. But LinkedIn is used by professionals. And you've got recruiters in there, you've got HR professionals in there looking for people to recruit, you've got people who are connecting with businesses over there. So I think that could be one channel for you as well to overcome your challenge over here.
Agree on that.
Now, I just want to go in a little bit on the details based on this new information, right? So Renee is absolutely right that, you have to look at the nature of your business. And when it comes to traffic channels, there are a lot of traffic channels out there. But what I want to highlight is this, right? That your corporate gift business is very different from your care pack as a product itself. Let me illustrate to you. So your care pack seems to be a fairly what we call innovative product that you came up with that is relevant for today's times and today's challenges. It's not something that's going to attract natural search demand because people don't search for these things. But your corporate gift business is an evergreen business. So for the rest of you as well, SEO is extremely important for your corporate gift business because it is an evergreen product that is continuously searched year after year and after year, which is why I'm telling you, go make the investment and make sure that your website is extremely findable. I'm going to go back to my computer and share with you one of my amazing students. Very quickly before I forget. And they are B2C, but I just wanted to demonstrate to you the tremendous benefits they've had from SEO. So I'm not sure whether you've heard of them, but they are an award-winning company. They are actually based in Malaysia. And imagine this, right? They are based in Malaysia and they have a market share in Malaysia, but they also end up with Singapore customer base, very heavily leveraging SEO. In fact, this guy is one of my graduates from my SEO program. And I mean, they are doing north of like 20 million ringgit a year with their web-based approach. So I want you to go and take a look at them as well, because they get amazing traffic from the search engines. And again, especially for gifts business, bulk of your traffic is and has to be findable traffic, which is coming from the search engines. Think about this, right? If someone needs a corporate gift, where would they go and find it? What's the easiest channel to find a corporate gift? Now, why is running a Facebook ad, for the rest of you as well, going to be not so effective? Because this is a need business. Okay, so I mean, you think about this, people it's hard for you to persuade someone to go and buy corporate gifts from you. I mean, you can make them aware, but this is a need business. And therefore, if a company needs a corporate gift, someone is going to be searching. And the reason why they search is because they have a need. So the point of search to the point of transaction is very short, because they have a need. You know, it's not something that you can alter their behavior. Oh, why don't you consider buying gifts for your customers and run a Facebook ad in that perspective? So I won't use Facebook ad either for primary acquisition. We're getting a little bit deep, huh? But I would gladly use Facebook ads in this case for retargeting. In other words, people who came to my website for more than 2 minutes, for whatever reason, then I'm going to use Facebook ads to retarget them and say, hey, you've been to our website, tell us what you need. Oh, by the way, I have a 50% sale right now. Now, this makes a lot more sense, because the fact that they landed on your website means they had a need. And we don't care why, but these people are raising a hand by visiting your website, and, for whatever reason, then Facebook becomes a retargeting channel itself. Now, what Renee is alluding to is that, to me, again, yes, you can use LinkedIn outreach, email, to go to HR practitioners and tell them, hey, you know what, I'm a gift supplier, please consider me next time. How effective is it going to be? Well, they're going to take your email and probably not even open it, because they don't have a need. But your care pack is a different product, because your care pack is an idea to say, hey, why don't you show some care, right, to your clients, show them that you care. It's a very good PR approach. Public is very good PR. But I want to highlight to all of you here, the strategies are markedly different between your gift business and your care pack business, because it's a very different product. And you need to get to that stage as a marketer to figure out, wow, in fact, this care pack, I'm going to give an idea to the HR practitioner to differentiate themselves from their competitors by giving away care pack to their top customers. Now, in this case, an outreach approach would be awesome, because number one, not everybody is doing this. Number two, you're giving them a strategy for retention. So you see the difference between push and pull marketing that we have uncovered for a business owner in this case, right? Now, she pivoted for whatever reason into this care pack stuff, maybe out of survival, but I'm saying from a marketing angle, in terms of push and traffic channels, what I'm trying to tell is that, don't be just blind and, I'm a Facebook ad guy, let me have you run Facebook ads. You're going to kill yourself and spoil your reputation, because you don't understand the intrinsic nature of what the product or the business is all about. You need to start to go deep, which is why I've been telling all of you here, right? You got to go deep while you go home, my friends. Don't come up with a half-baked solution, right? And that's, in summary, in this case, huge difference in the corporate gift evergreen in a care pack, which is, I think, a phenomenal idea, positioning it as very good PR, as differentiation, as your pitch to say, look here, times are bad, we have come up with a solution that allows you to differentiate yourself from the rest of your competitors. Now, who is the market for this? Anybody who want to retain customers. So actually, I tell you, it's not just HR, I would approach anybody in a star property agent, anyone in sales, any kind of sales, B2C, B2B sales, insurance business. I mean, there's any time that you want to take advantage of this situation to show your customer that you care, this is the time to go about doing it. And she has a solution, right? So it looks like it's a pivot in the corporate gift business, but I think what she has is an excellent solution that corporate and salespeople can benefit from. Now she has to articulate, I hope she can articulate what I just said, so that you're throwing ideas to people and it becomes a push product, which will be very, very effective. Now, would I want to run Facebook ads for this? I probably wouldn't want to run Facebook ads for this because number one, you know, you need to learn, all of you as well, you need to understand this. Facebook is a very public channel. If you have a great idea and you run Facebook ads, what you're going to do is that you are going to end up educating your competitors unknowingly. And those good and great competitors will steal your idea and make it even better and push it more effectively. Okay? If you have a great idea, sometimes it pays to not tell the world what you're doing and keep some competitive edge to yourself. And that's the reason why I hardly post anything meaningful on my Facebook profile anymore, by the way. Doesn't mean I'm not doing anything. I mean, I have a lot of exciting things. I don't want my competitors, I don't want to hand it over to my competitors who are young, who are more vocal, and who are shameless in showing their face, right? I value my own face, and that's why I don't put my face on ads, you know, that kind of manner itself. Doesn't mean I have no ideas. I mean, you also need to be smart enough to not use the ad aimlessly, because it's not going to be effective in that manner. So when you do outreach in LinkedIn, yeah, it works because it's one-to-one. Those who get it, get it. And most importantly is this, right? Do you have a solution? You know, and why is corporate give a weaker pitch to HR today? It's because you're not offering me a solution. You're offering me a me too. There's a big difference, my friends, in a solution and a me too. You understand what I'm saying, right? You know, you think HR people have no lobang and no idea to find where to find corporate gifts? Of course they do. Okay, so when you offer an undifferentiated corporate gift, you're offering a me too. They won't appreciate it. But when you give them idea on how they can do their job better, and it's a differentiated offer, that is what the world needs. You know, when I work with business owners, let me tell you this, right? My goal is very simple. My goal is to do their job better than them, so that they are relying on me. What job can I do better than the business owner themselves? CRO, Chief Revenue Officer. So I go to the business owner and say, let me help you in your business and let me help you make more money. Suddenly he'll realize, wow, this guy is serious, man, right? He can do my job better than I can. Fantastic. Let's talk about revenue share right now. Okay. So again, right, my friends, do you have or do you not have revenue lift capabilities? Because whatever I'm saying right now, whatever Renee is saying, are ideas that are executable at the business owner level itself. In fact, for those of you who are, you know, digital entrepreneurs, why don't you go approach her and you do the execution? If she has a good product, you just do the execution, you do revenue share. Okay, she doesn't have to lift a finger. So my point, all of you, is you need to start thinking 360, to start to be creative, start to value collaboration with your customers, with, you know, independent entrepreneurs. I mean, you need all the help that you need, and this is how it's going to be executed.
In this case, I mean, for a care pack, I would feel that emotion sells in this case. Perhaps the way you market it. Okay, so on your website, it looks like a sales website. So basically, come here and buy, this is what we have. It's very straightforward. Nothing wrong with that, but I feel that it can be your brand story could be curated here nicely. Why do you do what you do? What is Care Pack all about? Who's using Care Pack right now? HR people, they are gifting to their staff. They want to be different, like a company that shows that they care. You've got sales leaders who are incentivizing, right? Their sales managers or executives who are performing well this season, right? They show that you care. How about you do some PR campaign, right? You allocate some boxes, you give it to healthcare professionals. This is great. I mean, if you want to do low cost, so think about it. If you want to do advertisement, how much are you willing to spend? If you're not willing to spend on advertisement, what are some other PR activities you can do? Imagine if you do something nice, a nice gesture, you give it out to the healthcare professionals, and their HR personnel might come to know of it, right? And then you might maybe contact some media, get some coverage in there. That's one way to also help you boost your branding, right? So now you know the technicality of things, to help you build your SEO and things like that. But at the same time, what are some of the soft approaches? What are some of the brand story that you can curate to help you boost this care pack, right? Right now, I see on your Facebook, you show that, okay, you actually deliver that care pack. But who are you delivering to? People want to know, who are you delivering to? What's inside the pack? Can you do like a surprise box kind of, you can work with influencers. So I just had a call with an influencer just a few days back. We could work with them because the media people, they're desperate for projects as well. So this is one good way, right? I'm not sure how you could barter with them. Imagine with that number of followers, they just open the box and say, wow, this is what we have in the care pack. Give them a promo code so you could track performance, right? If people purchase with a discount code, you'll be able to tell that, oh, this influencer is doing a good job for you. You could engage them in the future. So marketing is like, in totality, it is integrated. It's not just one way only. So you might want to explore these areas as well. Yeah.
So what Renee is saying actually is utilizing PR, public relations. In fact, I'm a very big fan of this, and I did tell you this during my fundamental program, that this is one of those scenarios where it's much wiser for you to use PR, invest good money in PR than on ads. Okay, because every time you run an ad, people see you as pushing. But when you run PR, people say you do good. And PR is a very underutilized tool. And what Renee is saying, which I totally concur with, is basically work with a PR company and work a project for you to demonstrate the benefit of this, right? And the PR person will spin a story, and the camera crew start to come and interview whatever, and you just work on a hook, which is essentially benefiting a segment of the community with your care pack. And this approach and this investment in PR will do you far much better than running ads, for sure. Okay, because it has an emotional appeal to it and an emotional angle. And since you're willing to go for trade shows and invest in those areas, then I'll tell you, in this case, in today's situation, if I were you, then if I wanted to spend good money, I would use PR. I would spend good money on PR, and might as well be the front mover, because if the PR person is confident and accepts your gig, that means you are already a front mover, rather than be a Me Too person lagging behind, right? So everything that is fresh, the news like it. And once 3 of you appear, you become no fresh. You wouldn't even have a news slot at all. So consider PR as an alternative strategy as well. So there you have it, right? PR, LinkedIn outreach, website SEO. I think these are the 3 most effective strategies for your particular business itself. And don't even bother about Facebook, really, because these 3 are far more effective. For the rest of you, I hope you appreciate why omni-channel knowledge is so important, right? Omni-channel is 360. And, I also appreciate Renee being here, because sometimes when I do these things alone, I tend to be fixated on my own stuff. And whatever Renee says, I can totally, understand. And it's good that she's coming from a brand value, brand equity perspective, because it provides a very holistic solution on both sides. Okay, so that is the power of omni-channel marketing knowledge, where you're not just coming up with a canned response. You know, all problems can be solved with a Facebook ad. That's not true at all. So for the rest of you, I hope you are able to reflect on what we're saying over here. I mean, certain things we are talking may fly over your head. That's not the point, right? The point is that I already told you, every business problem is solvable. It doesn't mean we can save every company, but every problem is solvable to the extent that the product can hold its weight in its times itself. Okay. So, Shini, thank you for participating, and we wish you all your best. Keep us updated. If you need more information from us, please come back to us. Okay.
All right.
Certainly. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank
no
you.
problem. Thank you.
Thanks for valuable. It's really valuable. Thank you.
Thank you so
Fantastic.
much. All right. Let's move to
Next,
Xiongbu.
let's go to Xiongbu.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Yeah. PIC control, right?
Hi. Good
Hi,
evening. Hi, Fabian. Hi, Renee. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I just introduced myself. So have been doing electronics engineering services since 2011. So throughout, I mean, I wanted to have a dream to grow, but I think probably it's my business niche, too niche already. So I realized, it's really, really tough to grow doing custom service, engineering service like this. So yes, business for the past few years has been good. But then I really struggle. I'm really still wondering how I should grow. So I've been thinking a lot of ideas like doing a standard product instead of having to take on ad hoc projects. So with standard products, I can just design once and start to focus on marketing and focus on selling that one product. So I'm still trying out. So this is the situation I'm in now. So I'm thinking how should I move forward to maybe grow my business? Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Can I understand who are you serving?
I've known Xiongbu for quite a while. So before we even
okay, mainly my customer.
I have your website. We'll go to your website shortly, but before that, I want to have a fireside chat with you, right? Okay. So, and my question is this, I mean, you have been dabbling into different aspects, property, digital marketing, and obviously your core skill is in engineering, right? My question to you is, how married are you, right? How married are you with your engineering side of your business?
In fact, is significant because I do attend classes. Because my business, I know there's a limit. I'm facing a limitation, so I'm searching out for alternative side income. So so far, engineering is still the main source because I mean it takes time to perfect skills. So for marketing, I think SEO it helps my business. But in terms of like I gone to trading course, property, yes, I get knowledge, but I don't quite like them as much as engineering. But then attending those, I do get some new learnings that I can apply to my business also. So actually it helps in the business, just that it is not my main core of where I get my income.
Okay. Now I'm going to kind of ask you a slightly different question, okay? And obviously with the live audience here. So
yeah.
How important is money to you?
How important? Probably, I guess based on what I have did over the past years, not that important. But if it's important, I really probably give up quite early already because I really enjoy engineering work. So to me, it is like, yes, which is you always say, don't follow your passion. Yeah. So, but I really enjoy this work, and it's very fulfilling, but yeah,
Let me,
there's a
let me
reason
ask you,
why.
right? Is it possible to continue with your passion? Like, my passion is aviation, and it's not my primary income, and I know it can probably never be my primary income.
Yeah.
So my point is that when it comes to business and enterprises, right? You can still have your passion and be with it, but it doesn't necessarily need to be the vehicle which you will scale to grow your income. And for many of you here, I mean, not just Chung Boon, right? For many of you, I love baking cake, and you just die want to make it work, But there are many other factors you need to consider. What is the demand out there? What is the competition out there? You can be good at something, but if the demand is very micro and very small, and it leads to a certain kind of conclusion that you may not want to hear, right? In that sense.
Yes.
I've been seeing your feeds here and there. I know that you had been doing some SEO, even though you're so niche, you do have overseas customers and things like that. And I think hearing from you from a passion perspective, I totally get it. I totally get it why you want to keep building it. And of course, we can look into those areas, in terms of giving you some tips. And that's why I chose you in the hot seat for sure. But I'm saying that first and foremost, how important it is, therefore, my next question is how important is it to want to be able to grow wealth in your passion? How important is this 2-in-1 strategy? How important is it to you?
How important?
In linking both your passion and your profit together in one niche.
Yeah.
Which is what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, engineering is fun, but the reason why I also reach out for other source of income because I enjoy it, but then I cannot. It's just like employment, no? I can't totally jump out of it, but I need the income. So this is one issue. Then secondly, I do have my real dream is not really this engineering, is more on towards the software side. And in the process of doing marketing, actually compared to engineering, marketing is much more fun to me.
So let me ask you, right? What's stopping you, right, Shambun? What's stopping you from partnering with local businesses who have great products and services, leveraging your SEO skill to become a business partner and building second and third income? I mean, you have no problems doing these things if you wanted to, is it?
Yeah, but it's quite okay. I find it. I have also helped my friends doing SEO, but I find it quite.
I'm not talking about your friends. I'm talking about legitimate opportunities where you're evaluating the opportunity based on its potential. Now, this is something I want to tell all of you as well. Right? Every time you look for your friends, you look for your warm contacts, whatever. I mean, the truth is that you may not have an exciting, profitable, scalable project within your network itself, and you shouldn't limit yourself to just your network. You always, you can expand your network, you can collaborate, and there are many other ways to generate income, quite frankly, right? In this new normal economy, as opposed to getting yourself ingrained and building your own assets and liability. So I want all of you to think about these things as well. There are many things we can do if you had attraction and conversion skills. You know how to acquire. You know how to do acquisition. There are many things you can. It's actually limitless, and there's really nothing holding any of you back, quite honestly, from making a good income riding on somebody else's product as well. This is where I'm saying, because I mean, I can give you examples. I'm working with Nature's Glory on a revenue share. I'm working with Chef in Box. I think they have a product. I mean, the food is not like super fantastic, but there's a purpose for their food, which is long shelf life, as opposed to your 7-Eleven heat up meals, which will expire in 7 days. So I'm also working with GL Life Sciences. They're a $10 million company doing health supplements. And I'm running some campaigns right now, and I'm going from a longer term basis as well, right? All of them, I had no prior association or relationship with them. But we're working fine because I have solutions that they are looking for. Okay, so for all of you here, what I'm trying to say is that, you need to entrench yourself with a solution-minded offering. When you have a solution, everybody will drop what they're doing to come and meet you because you have the solution. In today's tough world, we need solutions. We need solutions for growing revenues. Okay. Anyway, so I just wanted to leverage Xiong Boon's interaction, not really just targeting Xiong Boon, but targeting all of you as well. Like, what are you waiting for, my friends? What are you waiting for? Two situations, right? Do you have the skill or do you not have the skill? Okay. If you don't have the skill, upskill, reskill. If you think you have the skill, then go out there in the marketplace and go have a nice time. Companies need help. They're not willing to pay up front. You already know this. Go into collaboration, joint venture. You pick who you want to work with. It could jolly well be a Google search for that matter and say, wow, this website is so lousy, my goodness. But I think their products are not bad. Let me call the business owner and have an appointment. You want a script? Very simple. Hi, Mr. John, I'm just calling you totally unsolicited. I realize you're in the corporate gift business. I'm quite intrigued by your products. I'm just talking rubbish right now, I'm trying to my script. Right? I'm quite intrigued by your products, but I noticed that your website absolutely sucks. Don't worry, I'm not an agency. I'm not going to charge you any fee. If you're willing to do collaboration, I'm very happy to do a Zoom meeting with you. Let's talk about this. Have an open mind. And if I think I can help you, no money down. But of course, if there's no money down up front, then obviously we have to strike a revenue share or profit share arrangement. Is this something that you're open and willing to discuss? Sure. Nice to meet you. Let's have a Zoom session. I mean, my friends, you can go replay the video to get my script, right? But who's going to tell you no? Who's going to say, no, I have a lot of business in COVID-19. I don't need any external help. Who the hell are you anyway? I'm trying to say, my friends, okay? But many of you are this. I know, because I have students among you guys. You have learned stuff in the last 5-10 years. You have SEO knowledge, but you haven't executed. As good as not having it. You don't have the confidence. It's like you have it, but you don't have it, or you're not sure you have it. And you procrastinate because you're not doing nothing. And that is sad, right? Because I'd rather you start from zero. Or even if you think you're not zero, start from zero anyway. Take the humble pill. I mean, I'm going to spend 9 months of my time starting next month with a batch of my diploma graduates. And I already said, those of you who are not eligible, right, because you're in Malaysia or somewhere else or whatever, you can tag along in my platform. And it's omni-channel, it's multi-channels. So anyway, I'm just saying, that as a matter of fact, as long as you're connected with me, as long as I have not dumped you, okay, there are solutions. It's just that, out of my 900 of you in the WRA Telegram group, half of you, of course, not you here, half of the 900 choose not even to say hello, right? So what do I say to these people? Screw you, right? I took the effort, I took the time, I showed up for every single webinar, and you know how many hours I have to prepare for these webinar sessions? I have to edit my videos, upload them, to hand it to you on a silver platter, and some people don't even want to click. So to these people, I owe them nothing, right? I absolutely owe them nothing. My conscience is clear. But I'm addressing all of you here right now, okay? And what I asked Xiong Boon is the same way of questioning I would also ask a business owner, even if I wanted to do business with him. Because it's not just about, okay, I tell you what, Xiong Boon, here's what you do. We do your SEO, go start doing Facebook ads, whatever. All these young boys are going to that level. You're curing the symptom, you're not curing the problem. So I just want to stress about this as also so that Renee doesn't get any shock, right? Wow, why are we deviating from what we're supposed to do in a hot seat. This is a hot seat because I'm asking Xiong Boon a very legitimate question, right? How important is it for you to fulfill your wealth ambitions in the same area as your passion? And then when you say it's very important, I'm going to ask him why. Why is it important to Xiong Boon? Why is it important for you to make a lot of money in the passion that you love? Why? Why? Because what if we realize that your niche is too niche? And what if you realize that maybe you bake cakes really well, but you're not up to standard to Bengawan Solo? You have now snooked yourself and you're going to end up following your passion and running out of money because you fail to come to practical realization that there are other people who can do it better, cheaper, faster than you. And that is going to be your greatest nightmare, ladies and gentlemen. Not just for business owners, even as an employee. If someone can do it better, faster, and cheaper than you, you better be worried. Are you following me, my friends? Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, for businesses, I always believe that it's being customer centric. Most of the time, business owners are very, very into their product creation, you know, and they forget a lot of intricacies, right, related to maybe their customers. Now, if you're doing something that your customers don't want, but you're passionate about it, are you doing the right thing? If you're a business owner, so same thing as what you mentioned, being the chief revenue officer, CRO, number one, right? So whatever you do, you have to find a way to commercialize it. So if it is a passion, if you commercialize it, then there is sustainability. So you want sustainability. Some people argue, with no passion, I cannot sustain this business. But with no money, neither can you sustain a business. So I think it's about practicality here and be very focused. So same for SEO concept. I think it's the whole mindset, right? Your Fabian's perception of SEO, you know, which is the correct way, right? And maybe for many businesses, the concept of SEO may be different. When you say, oh, have you done the SEO? A business owner will say, yeah, I did do SEO. I engage someone to do SEO. That's SEO for me. But this SEO is based on, you know, the keywords are chosen based on what, right? Based on the business owner's keywords that they just pluck from nowhere, or did they really do an in-depth research like what Fabian has shown? Have you gone into Google AdWords? Have you gone into Keyword Planner, checked out what people usually search in that country? Do you check out your competitors? Do you care what your customers search? Not what you think your product is all about, what you think people will search, but what do people really search? So you rely on analytics, you rely on data to help you. And you know, in our last segment with Fabian also, when we covered omni-channel, right? People have the concept that omni means what, do everything, a different type of marketing. No, so there is a difference between multi-channel and omni-channel. Omni-channel is integrated, everything integrated with customer in mind, with customer centricity in mind. Not business doing various channels independently, in silo, and in which they are not integrated. In this case, you are unable to review your results. You're unable to analyze what works and what doesn't. So you can say you have been sending EDMs. Do you even track how many people open and they click what? What's your click rate? What kind of messages sell? What kind of messages doesn't sell? Right? Are you very clear with this? Right? Leads coming from where? From Facebook, and then from your website, which channels are working well for you? So you got to go into those nitty-gritty as well. So I think at the end of the day, it's not doing what we really want, but what customers really want, and to serve them really well. And if you serve them well, they give you good comments, I think you'll be more passionate about what you do, isn't it? Yeah, that's my point. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Renee.
Right. So with that, of course, let's go and do some technical audit from Xiong Boon's website, and let's just go there right now. So this is his website. As you can see, it is very, very techy. And I'm going to assume
Xiongboon,
that
who are you selling to? I'm curious.
Mainly businesses, and I'm really focusing on, how do I say? It is, I started off very general problems that customer are facing, because they will send me inquiry. Then I will note that there are some inquiry that are very common, always come. That's where I started to, okay, since there's so many inquiry on this area, I will start a page on certain topics. So, and that helps actually, and it actually helped me to capture some of the market also from this kind of method. So my method is collect the inquiry. Then if there's a lot of common inquiry, I will start to build a page already. Then my website, probably the main site is very general. It doesn't tell much, which is actually how I started, I think 10 over years ago. But my leads, those quality leads are mostly coming from the landing page. So landing page are very more focused on certain topics. So when they land on that page, because my industry is very niche, so most of the time they are really having a hard time looking for people to do the job already. So when they land on my landing page, the chances are quite high for me. So I would say my conversion rate, once they land, they found me, is about 50% already. Quite high.
Can you send your landing page link?
Because it's very niche.
Can you send your landing page link?
For example, yeah, I can, a few of them. Oh. One is payment system. Let me search and post it on the chat. I have a few, but I think this one is the recent year one that actually helped me to help me to bring in quite a bit of revenue and inquiry. Let me post it. Yeah, this is it. So initially, I think few years ago, I started off with like rain sensor, for example. I noticed that actually this niche is quite unique. Then over time, I have a lot. This is one of them. I also have like can card reader on this. But I think the payment system is nice, as in it really reach out to a lot of businesses, because every business needs payment system. So this is one of the niche I catch. So for me, my website is mainly like a data collecting center where I can find new niche for me to survive. This is how I survive so far.
Okay, Xiongboon, I kind of browsed through your website, and obviously, I think you know that your whole website, you obviously have done some, SEO for sure,
yes,
because you understand what it is. But your website is very product centric. Okay, so it's very what I can do kind of stuff, which is fine from one perspective. But let me brief you and the rest of you in terms of as an example over here, right? So let me just get back to my Zoom. Okay, so very similar to let's say the aesthetic industry, the aesthetic industry, so they do Botox and lasers and all these things. It's a two-sided search demand or search market. So one is we call the condition keywords. So in other words, what is the problem you have from your perspective? And if we are going to be doing SEO for an aesthetic clinic, you definitely need to identify the conditions. So you may have, saggy skin. You may have severe acne. So these are the problems that you're articulating from what's wrong with you, right? A dull complexion, sunburned skin, whatever. These are all conditions. There is a flip side to that, and that is called the treatments. or the solution, right? So you have intensive pulse like IPL as a solution. You have pico laser that does certain things. So there are treatments and their conditions. Both are very essential keywords because some people look for solutions because they've done the research. I'm looking for Botox treatment. Okay, so they understand their problem. They've done their research. They know that the solution is a Botox treatment, or their solution is IPL, for example. But not everyone is necessarily so deep in their research. And this is where they go online and they look for their own problem first, right? They type in severe acne, how to cure severe acne, how to treat severe acne. So there are a few ideas that I have for you from this case study, right? From the aesthetic clinic. Number one, all you have right now are your condition keywords. Like, this is what I do, okay? But the truth is that there's a much wider market out there who do not necessarily search based on conditions or from what services you offer. So for example, let me give you some examples here, right? I'm part of this, as part of my passion, flight simulator community. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and the people with the money like us, we just go buy, from the shelf. I have a 737 simulator. I had to assemble it myself, but not at the circuit board level, I just buy it built. I plug in the VGA and after 3-4 hours, I'm ready to go. But some people start from zero. They start from a blueprint. They're like, start to question, where can I find the measurements of a 737 cockpit? It's like, wow, okay. I'll see you in 5 years' time, right? So, but these people build everything from hand, from 3D printing. Once they find the plans, they can buy from Boeing company, the aircraft company. They have a wood workshop. They will now start to manufacture the parts on your own, and they do things like what I think you are doing, okay? But the difference is this: the companies supporting this flight sim community is very centered on the treatment perspective. So they say, you want this switch, right? You want this landing gear switch. I have for you. Pre-assembled. This is how much it costs. So what I'm trying to say is that your market, from what you have, because you seem to be a whiz kid in PCBs and these things like this, is to start to expand your reach into communities. Like flight simulator communities, particularly, they build a lot of these encoder switches and all these things on their own, but some of them want to buy parts, some of them want it assembled, some of them need to do certain kind of functions. So the treatment equivalent in your business is to look at providing solutions from your skill set from an industry perspective. So flight simulator industry, one of those things, maybe car enthusiasts, build your own something. So I'm saying that you are right now quite hardcore. Okay, you have your electronic wizardry, and it's almost like a B2B kind of thing or a homemade whatever. I'm not sure what your business model is, right? Whether you're B2B or B2C as well. But it appears you do customization. So one thing for sure that I think you're missing out is looking at industry level solutions that utilize your talent, your industry, and your knowledge and your know-how of these components, but going more upstream to provide consumer level solutions or DIY or whatever you want. So before you ask me questions, then what this requires you to do is to understand industries that utilize your components, right? Because your component is a subcomponent of a finished product itself. What industries, I've already given you the flight sim industry, I think would appreciate what you're doing over here. Infiltrating the flight sim community to understand what is it their needs are, understand their jargons, that's why the keyword comes in, okay? And then basically creating an extension, industry by industry, right? For flight sim enthusiasts, here's what we offer you, for example, right? things like that. Then you'll be very busy for a long, long time to come until you cannot retire even. Because at the flight sim level, they look at aircraft. Some people are fans of people like me, commercial aircraft, 737, 777. Some people are fighter jet kind of guys. Some people build their own helicopter collective systems and all these things. But all have PCBs involved, you know, and it's just so wide out there.
Yes, just to add on, yes, I actually started to get in touch of simulation aircraft from one of our customer. So actually from there, he contacted me to do something, but I really not aware why the project didn't proceed. Probably perhaps the cost is too high because engineering work is a lot of effort. So customization is costly. So that's why I wouldn't go into the consumer part. But I also did one project with my other partner. So actually I posted my link on the group chat. So that one we are doing we are helping the customer, which is ITE, to repair a simulator. And I find, hey, this one is quite a good business. And when I posted, I actually do only one landing page on this topic alone. And I got a lot of inquiry from this. But the problem is my partner we don't have the complete skill set to deliver this system. That's the issue. So I've been also looking for partners that can do this. Right now, not yet, but there is a market on simulation alone. And this one landing page actually helped me to get a lot of leads from there. And the value are very high. Just that I always have to reject them because I actually, behind the scene, I don't have a solution for them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
this is my issue. Yeah.
From your skill set and technical expertise, I think you understand where I'm coming from. That
yes.
Rather than be the provider of the actual, customized, because you mentioned customization, and you're right, unless it's a big project, customization is very time consuming. And if you're only going to sell one solution that you took so many hours to put together to one customer, it's not going to have economies of scale, right? But if you had a solution that 200 customers can benefit, you can spread the cost of that solution that you provided across 200 customers. It becomes more profitable. And that's where I'm coming from, you see. That the flight sim community is easily 100,000 strong. 100,000, 200. I mean, you just have to go to YouTube and look at all the channels and the views they have, right? Some flight sim videos have millions of views in itself. I myself wasn't aware of how large the community is until I visited YouTube and realized that, wow, my goodness, you can do a lot of market research on YouTube alone because it goes down into, that level of specialization. Then you have the audiophile guys, right? The guys who mess around with speakers. Then you got the mechanical guys. I mean, there's such a huge market that if you want to continue pursuing your passion, to me, right? You need to transition more towards an industry level solution, and the rest of it all is SEO, because they are this kind of solutions you're providing are fairly niche. So the good news is that, from a competition standpoint and global SEO, not that difficult because there are very few providers who provide this, but the market is huge. But you have to gravitate a little bit more towards the consumer level solutions. And of course, you will have to start to mark things up depending on volume, sell based on volume, do some marketing like live demos to get people interested as well. And perhaps, if you could create complementary skill sets like 3D printing, right? Because I see all your circuit boards are all naked. You're starting at naked level, whereas putting an enclosure and so that consumers can buy and go, it's an area where I think it's not far from where you're coming from. We call this product extensions, right? Where you provide the enclosure as well and price everything together in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. This is actually one of my realizations about 3 years ago. I realized that a lot of customers, they actually wanted it to be nice. So I started to create a lot of enclosure web page, and that one actually brings me a lot of leads also, and it actually brings up my value of the product that I deliver to customers. So that one actually is also a significant revenue for me. And now every time I deliver, I will deliver with nice casing together. So the reason I don't do 3D is because the 3D printing quality is still not that nice. But I do mostly like standard casing together with the electronic product. So that one actually helps a lot. And people, compared to my competitor, which they only do the PCB board, it looks much more commercialized product for my client. That means I'm helping my client to make something that they can already deliver to their client. They don't have to do the casing themselves. Yeah.
And of course, the last aspect, since you are talking about this, is to productize a complete solution, right? For an industry that has a problem that you have a solution to, in that sense, in whatever shape or form, that if you have such a skill set, it's just a matter of packaging and marketing left, identifying your market, and then packaging with an enclosure to provide consumer or industrial grade product. Because that will I mean, this is where all the money is made. I think you know this, right? The real money is made through scalability.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, my profitable projects, they are all how do I say, production based. That means if I take a project that I need to custom, most likely the first project I probably don't make a lot of money because I spend a lot of time to do the design. But if the order, like they want to repeat order the same thing, that is the part is profitable. So things that I can replicate, I find it profitable, which I started to think, correct, I shouldn't spend so much time designing and only earn that one. Because if I do this, I'm using my time to earn for money.
Correct.
So that's why I started to come up with a product which I think I can gain advantage over the rest, which is the cable tester. So that one is what I'm wanting to build up a brand on. So that one is something like it's more product focused rather than customization.
And
but
of course,
the
it
market
matters in
also,
terms of when you look at volume as well. I mean,
yes,
it's
also very small.
correct. Yeah. So let me just give you one tangible example over here. And I think honestly, what this kind of company does, you can easily do. Okay. And your website obviously sucks as well because they are engineers just like you. Right? But the fact that I know about this is because I know the home simmer goes to them, right? And what I meant was that if you look at this board here, this is the front end, which is a replica of a Cessna switch console. Okay, but their real skill set, how do I navigate their horrible website? Okay, the real skill set is the PCBs that powers this thing, and people go to them for customization work and things like that. And I think that these things are, unless correct me if I'm wrong, are all within your skill set, isn't it?
Yes, true. But because every electronic industry, they are actually quite different in a way. So normally the reason why I can produce all this niche product is because somebody, they approached me before for a project and I started to learn the industry. So once I learn already, I will know how to build the electronics for them. So for aviation, they have their own standards. So I haven't got a client that give me the chance to touch it yet. So the only way is I have to really focus and go all the way into research and understand what are their components. Then I can start to design parts for them. So I need to take this step if I want to go into aviation. So every industry, they do have a standard. So like the recent one that I did is a payment system industry, which I go into it already. So because somebody gave me the opportunity to do the project. So with that knowledge, I actually start to generate ideas. What else can I do to serve this industry? So that's how I come up with a certain product that help my client. So
I can tell you that from the simulation industry, like all these guys, all these things do is that they're all keyboard emulators, you know. So rather than press G for gear, I flip a switch, and the switch basically commands the keyboard G to go and press. That's it. That's all. That's all it is, you know. The rest of it all are just variations, whether it's a 2-switch encoder, you know, a three stage flat gear like this. But they all do the same thing, right? They all replicate a keyboard command, and I think there's a very large market for this kind of products at the consumer level, which is something within your skill set, I believe.
Yes,
I just want to give
definitely.
you an example. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
It's
Just that I'm
definitely
really
not rocket
not
science
familiar.
for you, lah.
Not rocket science. It's just that I'm not familiar with the software they're using. So, but once I'm
But you could, right? I mean, you
can.
could buy a competitor's product and reverse engineer, couldn't you?
Can, just that I didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
So I mean,
definitely,
you're
yeah.
asking me about Simi Kang Tao, what lobang do I have, and I'm just giving you examples, right? And you know, for the rest of you, you can see that from my discussion with Xiong Boon, we hardly talk about traffic. We hardly talk about Facebook ads. There are a lot of more fundamental entrepreneurial questions that add value to his business rather than talking about landing pages and Facebook ads. And I intentionally going this direction to make all of you understand, because to be honest, you know, I didn't cheat and research on what he's doing. It's all accumulated experiences that I'm demonstrating to you right now on the practical side. Why? Because at the end of the day, Xiong Boon is a business owner. The question, of course, for all of you is this, the $1 million question: what value can you add to him? You know, and Xiong Boon maybe say, I can't do everything. Yes, maybe he can't do everything. Can I find a partner who can do what he can't do? Maybe I'm the product owner now. I say, tell what, Xiong Boon, you don't do, never mind, you don't do. Okay, I start my own flight simulator hardware company. I don't plan to do that, by the way. I've got other more interesting things to do. But let's say, right? So Xiong Boon becomes my supplier of the PCB boards. I find another guy who has, you know, very good enclosure 3D printing, and I put all this together. Now I'm the guy that is the face of the company, and even though I'm just marketing, but I'm also product development. So whose IP is it? It's actually my IP now, which I own the company, and Xiong Boon is my supplier on the back end side. That can also work, my friends. Okay. In other words, that what I'm trying to say is that sometimes the solution is not just one person, one entity. Sometimes you have to connect the dots, because it is what it is. Okay. As long as you understand. So where are we leading to, right? We're leading to the summary. And maybe before this, Renee, have anything else to add?
I mean, for me, well, you know, human beings are quite visual people. So if I were to comment on the site, of course, there are a few things. So first, I guess it's very feature focused. It's very product and feature focused. First thing, you go to the site, he straight away talk about product, right? So one thing to note is benefits sell, features tell. So you're telling something. You're not, you know, so benefits sell. Just like iPhone, they're not going to tell you I've got this part, that part, whatever. No, it's just, you know, they just do their ads so simple, you know, just show your face and then you can lock your phone, unlock your phone, that sort of thing, right? So benefits, be more benefit driven. Whoever your target audience is, they probably want to see what is the benefit if I have this product, not what are the features, because most people would want to think about the benefits first rather than, you know, what's in there, right? Of course, it can be a technical guy, but he can click in and find out more. I think for me, UX is also important. Yeah, the whole user experience, your site to navigate and to look for items, easy to find, easy to understand. Yeah, because you're targeting business owners. So, you know, but there is a difference. Yeah, engineers, the way they articulate, and of course the business people, when they articulate, could be different. So if you are the business owner selling, right, and you're an engineer as well, you gotta position yourself a little bit, you know, more effectively on your sites, because that is your touch point. The other touch point would be they meet you face to face. So it's very importantly, the moment they go to your site, it's like, whoa, I'm impressed, rather than, oh, what's this? I don't quite understand. Okay, fine. Yeah. You get what I mean? So visual is very important. So focus on the benefits more. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Renee.
That's the benefit of having two hosts. You see things from different perspectives, right? I want to leave you guys with this slide, which I presented during my session, digital entrepreneur session. And it is a checklist that I use to evaluate a business. Because the first thing I look at is the UVP, right? What is your unique value proposition? And back to the corporate gift industry, is a very, very crowded industry. And it can only get more crowded over time. And doing any business without trying to figure out why are you different and why should I buy from you, what's your UVP, makes your business so much more difficult to market. And we look at lifetime value. Is it a one-time purchase? As what Xiangbun said, he spent so much time on circuitry to sell to one customer one time is not going to be profitable. And there are other aspects. Instead of selling one person, one product, one time, and not being able to get, repeat sales, then the next best approach is to sell that one product many times to different people, because it achieves the same goal of giving you lifetime value. Now, obviously, your customer acquisition cost can go up, but if you are fairly niche, like Xiangbun, when people have to find him rather than he find people, today, in fact, we didn't really talk about this, but might as well share with you. So if Xiangbun had a custom flight sim solution, he doesn't have to spend money to go out there and run ads, because firstly, it's so niche. So if you're niche, then go join a Facebook group. In fact, when you join a Facebook group and you obviously participate, very soon people will know that you offer these services. And because the group is made up of enthusiasts, they don't mind you sharing your skill set with them, even if it's commercial. There are many of such Facebook groups. I'm not talking about Facebook pages, right? Facebook groups where the community is there. They want to improve themselves. They want solutions that can help them solve their problems or get to a certain degree of output or accomplishment. You don't have to spend a single cent as long as you have a good product or solution for these people. So think of it as problem and solution. What unique solution do I have that I can offer this group of people itself? And of course, don't even talk about the last four of these slides, like conversion, retention, scalability, exitability, rather. Okay, but focus on the first aspects. Know your product. Understand how unique it is. Understand what your UVP is. And again, I keep saying this, and this is probably the last time I'm going to say this, is you cannot define your UVP without knowing your competition landscape. It's only through knowing your competition landscape that you derive your UVP. Because by definition of the word unique, you first have to confirm that no other competitors possess this specific value proposition, and only you have this specific value proposition. And that's why you put a U in front. So uniqueness cannot be achieved without competition assessment. And of course, right, at the end of the day, acquisition is crucial. And today we kind of threw in other creative acquisition techniques, because not every solution is a Facebook ad. And I also invited Xiangbun intentionally, because I know that his product is extremely technical. Read the word boring as well. But even then, a boring business can be put to life with some creativity, with some new ideas, with new markets and new demand that you either can create if you're Apple, or you do derived demand. Someone wants to build a flight simulator, and the reason why they want to come to you is because you can provide a solution that solves their goal of being able to build a flight simulator, and you are part of that ecosystem itself. So for the rest of you here, we don't have to be, presidents, queens, politicians, and solve big problem. We just need to solve micro problems faced by consumers, micro problems faced by business owners. The key is that you must have a solution that you possess that people are willing to embrace you for. Whatever you sell, to be honest, whether you're selling corporate gifts, CapEx, PCI circuit board, flight simulator training, is all beside the point, right? If for those of you who are digital entrepreneurs, and for those of you especially who are business owners, my parting words to you is this, that you need to look beyond where you are today and how you got here to where you are. There's a very nice saying, what got you here won't get you there. Let me say this again, right? What got you here won't get you there, which is why it's important where you want to go. Many of us who are getting to our midlife crisis, we start to evaluate, what have we done? What have we acquired? Knowledge, right? Both academic knowledge and practical knowledge we call experience. We take academic knowledge plus practical knowledge and ask ourselves, how relevant are these stuff really for us for the next 30 years? And I think almost without exception, there is a need for all of us to reskill, upskill, reevaluate our business model, which is why I asked Xiong Boon, but I'm going to ask all of you the same thing, right? How married are you to your passion? How married are you to your existing skill set? And if you insist on doing what you're doing because of what you have today, and you're not willing to embrace new knowledge and new skills and new markets, then the next best thing you can do is to be honest and find solutions right now to be able to grow your business. Like the ideas I'm giving Xiong Boon, right? It's not about whether he executes or not. The question is that, do I have ideas for him to scale if he wanted to? Now, there are many reasons why he would listen to me and do this or not bother, right? A lot depends on really his financial situation. Does he have spare income? Is he a heavy spender like me? Just for all of you to know, right, that I have extremely expensive hobbies. Okay, I previously owned a $2.6 million private jet, US dollars. Sold it, lost a lot of money, lost $1 million. That so go my millionaire status. And my goal, I won't be shy with you, right? My goal is to work with my partner to go and own a $20 million private jet, and to afford that kind of toy, and to afford the maintenance, which is $1 million a year, we need to have a business that is at least $50 million in net profit every single year. So I start with the end in mind, right? I mean, for you, it doesn't have to be 50 million. It could be 500,000. Doesn't change anything, by the way. Doesn't make things easier or more difficult. Okay, but that's why I'm trying to make all of you understand, right? That you'll hear more about this later on, my $50 million plan, because I don't have the solution, but I have a partner with the solution, and I sold him on my ability to market his solution very effectively. But it's his solution that will get us to 50 million, but he probably couldn't do it without me, and I certainly will not get there without him. So, my point is this, even I have to collaborate, and there's tremendous benefit of collaborating, especially when you're collaborating with people with complementary skill sets. At the end of the day, very simple, right? Do you have a great product? Yes, no. If you have a great product, the next question is, do you have great marketing? Two things only, right? We either have a great product or have great marketing. Now, if you have a great product and great marketing, you're going to be very, very rare. Yeah, you're going to be a very rare person. But it's more realistic to say, look here, I have a great product. In fact, that's also quite rare. I mean, how does one come up with a product that is so unique today? So I conclude, therefore, friends, fellow friends and countrymen and Romans, right? Therefore, it's easier to be a great marketer. It's easier starting from zero to be a great marketer than to create a good product. Anyone would disagree with me? I can teach all of you how to be a great marketer, phenomenal marketer. I don't think I can help all of you to become a great product developer. You either have it or you don't. People like Xiong Boon have, okay, his tacky stuff side of himself. But his business can fly if he also becomes a great marketer, which I think he has a potential. I mean, this guy is not a stupid guy, you know, right? But he may not have the time or bandwidth. But this is where any of you half-baked, you know, electrical engineer, but you are a great marketer, go and collaborate with him, right? So maybe you're in school, you're not as a good student as him, and you come out a half-baked electrical engineer, but at least you can understand what he does, but put on your marketing hat. And you don't have to do what he's doing, because you are going to be doing what he don't have time to do, don't know how to do, cannot do, don't want to do. So you guys must understand how business collaboration works. You must have a piece of the value solution that the other guy doesn't have. So you are not going to find people who are similar to you. You need to find people dissimilar to you for it to work. And all of you become the king of your jungle. Okay? So of course, I know some of you will say, oh, but Fabian, I'm nowhere near you. You know, I'm not going to impress anybody if they know you exist. Good, then don't compete with me, right? Don't go after the clients I'm going after because they know me. You find your own niche. I already hinted to you, typically under 5 million, I don't usually like to play there because, you know, my time value of money. So then you don't play above 5 million, I don't play below 5 million. We are friends. How about that? Happy? Right? You go help all the business owners who are struggling today. 200,000 a year, 500,000. I won't touch. I promise you, I won't touch these things. So you're not going to compete with me. So there are you know, different segments that you need to figure out for your skill set, for where you are and your network. Where is your best market and where's your best opportunity? I want to tell you, the fastest way to move forward in life, I get my 50 million, you get your 5 million, is to collaborate with people with potential. But you must have something to offer, correct? I already told you. So your offering has to be the marketing. Your marketing wizardry, your understanding of omni-channel marketing will take you places, because omni-channel marketing equals CRO. Because CRO is last mile skill set. The chief revenue officer, he's the one that brings in the money. Omni-channel marketing skill set gives you the skill to locate customers, B2B or B2C, and bring in the money. Isn't that the same skill set as a CRO? Absolutely. Anything else, Renee, before we end this session?
Yeah, just wanted to add a few points from what you have shared. Marketing is one component. Of course, when you have marketing, you gain great visibility in the market, brand awareness, of course, leads, and you get a chance to then educate your clients how good you are, how different you are, how you're positioned differently from your competitors. But it doesn't stop there. Next will be sales. Whether you're into B2B or B2C sales, right? You got to be a hustler. If you're doing B2B sales, you got to, if your trade requires you to call, you better do your calls. And these days, you can't call people. LinkedIn is your next best option, because right now people are open to, you know, having Zoom meetings with you, right? And you can easily reach them via LinkedIn. Okay, B2C sales, you know what to do, right? If you do your marketing right, that should help. However, service excellence is next. Operational excellence, service excellence, customer service, that's key as well. That's retention, which Fabian shared just now. So if you're unable to perform good customer service, obviously then you won't be able to retain your customer. Then you have issues trying to, you know, you have to convert new customers as a result. So he talked about, you know, learning stuff. So I just wanted to share my point is that things are changing way too fast. When we can't just learn new stuff, but also to unlearn what we have learned. What we learned yesterday will change today and tomorrow things change. So we got to unlearn and relearn all of the time. We got to have that flexibility, that you got to be quick and agile as a business owner. You talk about UVP positioning. Where are you going to be positioned at, right? Where you want to be positioned at in time to come? Where are you at right now? Do you do your SWOT analysis, your typical strengths, weakness, opportunities, and your threats? And you may think that I just do it once and that's it. I think you should do it, regularly in time to come, right? Year on year, do this SWOT analysis, because you will always have new competitors coming into the trade, disturbing you. There's so much noise, right? You can't go out to do marketing now. You got to do, for example, digital marketing, and everyone is doing digital marketing. So Fabian has been seeing a lot of youngsters, right, these days, and they are targeting you. I don't know why. Okay, so you see them feature on Facebook, and it's really getting too noisy. So you got to find ways to reposition the business. Think about digitalization to increase productivity, scalability, right? Travel industry is down. Recently, we've been interviewing some of the notable brands, interesting business owners, and some of them actually share, they are implementing technology in their business, right? Now that people can't travel, how can we create an experience? They have nothing to do. You want to go to Maldives, you can't now. You want to go to Bali, you can't now. So what? So they use things like AR, VR, so that to let you experience when you're ready, you go, right? Okay, another thing is about collaboration. You talk about collaboration. So I think collaborating is not just, with your peers, right? Look out for people who are able to help you with different skill sets, but they can also be from your industry. So think about how you can, when you used to think of a few brands being your competitors, is there a way where you guys can work together like a consortium and collaborate that makes you stronger than one? So I've also spoken to some of the interesting business owners from some trades who do scenario planning way early, before COVID-19. I think COVID-19 is one good lesson for all of us to plan ahead of time. So they are in the logistics sector, and in their sector, they have no choice, but part of their work is do scenario planning. So various scenarios that could happen, and what would they do, right? What are the action plans? I think this is something that is lacking in most of our businesses because we have never encountered things like COVID-19. We're not in the industry where, if something happens and we are shaken, right? We've never really encountered that. So I think it's a great lesson for us. Now, if something fails, what would you do? So like, the gifting business like Shini, she decided, to think fast, to create a brand, to sell, and to create their emotions, to sell a different brand, a care pack for people. So we got to think on our feet really, really quickly and be agile. So these are just some of the things that I'm sharing. And, if you guys want to hear from, some of the successful brand businesses, C-suites, they're actually convening at our upcoming virtual Asia Summit in June 17-18. You could ask them a lot of questions. They're from various interesting brands. So yeah, that's from me. How about Fabian? Yeah.
Okay, so thanks a lot, Renee. We will attempt to do this session again in a fortnight's time, which means
hope you guys enjoy this session.
Yeah, this is the first time we're kind of doing it. And, I didn't want to, let's be very clear before I just didn't want this to be a pure Q&A and, use Facebook, kind of thing, because I think we really need to, start to look into the motivations of business owners. And I think they need counsel as well. Because the truth is this, if you think, for example, that every business is salvageable, I think you are going to be grossly delusional, okay? Because I know that's not the reality. Singapore reported, I don't know how many 8,000 companies closing in April.
Yeah,
God knows how many more are going to close. And most importantly, the ripple effect of all these companies that start closing is going to lead us into a mega depression, by the way. I'm using the word mega depression if COVID-19 vaccine is not found in 2020. That's what's going to happen. It has to happen, my friends. Okay, you have no idea how many industry leaders are bleeding. Okay, I happen to have a very good pulse because I have a very strong network, and I'm getting a lot of feeds. They're telling me that 2 months is almost going to kill them. Don't talk about 6 more months for Singapore at least, where all these companies are slated to reopen 6 months later. Okay, it's confirmed death to a lot of business owners, and this will have a tremendously negative impact all the way down. So, right now we're in May, and very soon, in the blink of an eye, we'll be in June. I think you can do yourself a favor and be on your toes and start to do your own, continuity planning. Start with the worst case scenario and move on from there. In the meantime, we can just do what we can do, is to share with you our knowledge, and hopefully this session means something to each and every one of you from whichever perspective you want to take it from. So we'll try to do this again in 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, if you have any questions and you want further counsel, or you have burning questions, that's what our Facebook group is for, the Hot Seat Sessions Facebook group. So, if you have found value into this, please invite your friends to join our group as well, because I ain't running Facebook ads to grow this group at all. That's not how I believe in things. And let's continue to stick together as a community. When you come for the next Hot Seat session, switch on your, your Facebook, switch on your webcam. It's also branding for yourself. Do you know that webcam participants get to be in front of us as panelists? We see webcams first, and those of you without webcams get shifted to page 4, page 5. It's like SEO. Okay, so if you want to be on page 1 and let me stare at you so that I get to know you and your name and everything, next hint is go and invest in a good webcam, right? If not, then thank you very much. I do have a recording of this session. I will find some time to go and edit it lightly and share with all of you in the Hot Seat session group. If not, then thank you for your time again. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. All right?
Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.
Have a great evening. Yeah. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Take care. See you.